Call the Committee of the House Economic and Workforce Committee to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairman Swearingen.
Here.
Vice Chair Santucci. Checked in. Ranking Member Upchurch is excused. Representative Blackshear.
Here.
Representative Claggett checked in. Representative Delaquila.
Here.
Representative Dobos checked in. Representative Grimm checked in. Representative John checked in. Representative Kick. Here. Representative McNally is excused. Representative Miller.
Here.
Representative Powell. Representative White. Representative Williams checked in.
Okay, we have a quorum present and will proceed as a full committee. And I have to appoint Representative Blackshear with the honor of being the secretary for this meeting because we're missing Ranking Member Upchurch, who is excused. Committee members will see minutes from the previous committee on their iPads. Are there any objections to the minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. I'll now bring forward House Bill 276 for its first hearing. I would like to call Representatives Miller and Ray to testify on this bill, and the associated written testimony is available on the iPad. Welcome to committee. You may proceed.
Right. Thank you. Chairman Swearingen, Vice Chair Santucci, Ranking Member Blackshear, and members of the House Economic and Workforce Development Committee, I'd like to take a moment to thank you for the opportunity to present sponsored testimony on House Bill 276, which would repeal a certain interstate interchange. And Representative Ray and I, our colleague Senator Mark Romanchuk, is carrying the companion bill in the Senate, which is Senate Bill 155. Today, I stand before you as an advocate for the preservation of the homes and the communities and the voices of the city of Brunswick. I want to shed light for a moment on why this highway expansion project is detrimental to the city of Brunswick and its surrounding communities. One of the most distressing parts of this project is the demolition of homes. Families who have planned their lives, including retirement, along Boston Road, will now have their dreams ripped away. The question of eminent domain looms large, with the likelihood that these homes will never be compensated at a fair market price. I'd like to emphasize three major issues as to why this initiative is bad for Brunswick. First, the homes. Behind every demolished house, there's a personal story, a lifetime of memories, and a sense of belonging. I've personally heard of countless stories of parents and children alike who are worried about losing their homes. Can you imagine for a moment of that burden and that worry and its impact on these families? Another component to think about is safety and the unexpected impact. The presence of a jet fuel pipeline under the landscape of Boston Road, dating back nearly 35 years, raises serious concerns. And we cannot forget, colleagues, of the recent and unfortunate history of East Palestine. The dated pipeline poses risks that could have devastating and unforeseen ramifications for residents, the ecology, and the environment. And lastly, let's not forget the cost. The practicality of leveling a road like Boston Road with its hilly terrain and relocating the pipeline is an enormous financial burden. We must ask ourselves, is it worth the cost? Especially when Boston Road is ill-suited to carry highway traffic? It is evident that Boston Road is not suitable for an interchange like this. The citizens of Brunswick are being asked to sacrifice their homes, disrupt the ecosystem, and incur significant expenses for a project that should never have been considered in the first place. That is why my colleagues and I are advocating for legislation to repeal this plan. The community united, collecting over 3,000 signatures online and in person. We brought those with us today. The residents are very concerned. They've been collecting petitions, and I think this is a testament to our shared commitment to preserving our homes. This interchange, as it stands, it does set a dangerous precedent for other areas in our state. It bypasses established channels like NOACA and the Federal Highway Association. And honestly, this is not how decisions of this magnitude should be made. The bill has broad support from the region, including elected officials for the City of Brunswick, the Medina County Commissioners, leaders of the surrounding communities, as well as local business leaders. A few short weeks ago, Representative Ray, myself, and Senator Romanchuk, we hosted a group of these leaders and a bus full of residents from Brunswick and the surrounding communities to show support for this legislation. So I ask you, would you stand with us in solidarity, ensuring that the homes, not highway movement of the people is heard, and that we would work tirelessly to protect the homes, the environment, and the principles of fairness by supporting this critical legislation for the Brunswick community. I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity, and at this time, I would like to invite my joint sponsor, Representative Ray, to share her perspective on our bill.
Representative. Chairman Swearingen, Vice Chairman Santucci, Ranking Member Upchurch, and members of the House Economic and Workforce Development Committee, thank you for the opportunity to provide sponsor testimony on House Bill 276. We are here to discuss legislation that came as a result of constituent concerns about a highway interchange in Medina County. House Bill 276 will specifically repeal a portion of the state transportation budget, which would require the Ohio Department of Transportation to construct an I-71 interchange on Boston Road in the city of Brunswick. This proposed interchange was the result of one community, Strongsville, trying to legislate a neighboring community, Brunswick, to fix a problem they created. This interchange is bad for Brunswick and all of Medina County for financial and safety reasons, and is just bad policy overall. It is also, in my opinion, a violation of the Ohio Revised Code and the United States Highway Code requiring local support. This interchange would place an unbearable financial obligation on the city of Brunswick, requiring millions of dollars of investment to widen and change the current country road into a suitable highway, requiring, among other costs, the relocation of a jet fuel line. One of my goals as a legislator is to make our Ohio communities the best place to work, live, and raise a family. This interchange would do the exact opposite of this, creating an inevitable increase in traffic and the demolition of dozens of homes in the middle of a populous residential area. Representative Miller and I are committed to protecting our communities and doing what's best for our constituents. This interchange is not what's best for the people in the city of Brunswick and surrounding areas of Medina County. Chairman Swearingen, Vice Chairman Santucci, Ranking Member Upchurch, and members of the Ohio House Economic and Workforce Development Committees, thank you again for the opportunity to address you today. We would be happy to answer any questions from the committee at this time. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions? Representative Blackshear.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Representative Ray and Representative Miller, for your testimony. I have two questions if the Chair allows. Okay, thank you. So my first question is, does current law conflict with federal DOT provisions regarding interchanges and access to the interstate?
Chairman Swearingen, Representative Blackshear, it's my understanding that both those provisions require local support.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chair. And then my last question is, how many interchanges does the current provision in the law affect?
Sorry.
Okay. Chairman Swearingen, Representative, although it does not say the number of interchanges it would impact, it's written very specifically that there is really one location that is identified, and that is the one that we are trying to repeal today in our district.
All right. Thank you.
Representative Kick.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for bringing this in. Couple things. I'm well aware of this situation as used to representing that area. You mentioned NOACA. They help disperse funds for highway systems and different projects around that area. Can you elaborate on how they feel about this project, and then a follow-up, if I may?
Chairman Swearingen, Representative Kick, it's my understanding they have written in a letter that they are opposed to this project. It's my understanding also they're considering adopting a resolution in opposition.
Thank you. And also, has ODOT specified on their problems with, I know some of the earlier ideas, there was no turnaround for the trucks when they're salting and pushing snow to have it on one side of the highway and maybe not the other, and then be too expensive to do both sides for full access. And I just wondered if that was going to be part of testimony going forward, or had it changed?
Chairman, Representative Kick, I know of no further discussion on that issue. That's one of many, many issues that will become apparent if this project moves forward in its current state.
Representative Delaquila.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your presentation today. Briefly, I have some analogous personal experience in this area. I reside on a street in Cuyahoga County named Pleasant Valley Road. When we first acquired our home many, many years ago, it was actually a two-lane road, very similar, perhaps more residential than Boston Road in the area you're describing, which I'm also familiar with. Since that time, it has now expanded into a four-lane road, and the reason for that is that there's an interchange to Interstate 77 approximately a mile and a half or so up the road. I reside very close to one of the busiest intersections in the entire county as a result of the traffic coming off of Interstate 77. There are times when one must go through 5 or 6 traffic signals in order to get out of my driveway. It really is quite something. My question, given that Boston Road, I believe, straddles the boundary between Strongsville and Brunswick, I'm very familiar with it. It's a rolling, sinuous highway, mostly rural, partially residential. Has ODOT or has any other traffic engineer examined what this will mean for the residents of that area and whether that road can accommodate this level of traffic?
To the representative, through the chair, it's my understanding that that has never been considered. The residents of Brunswick's opinions and ramifications of this have never been talked about. There were, however, alternative plans that Cuyahoga County, Strongsville was given, that are in Cuyahoga County that would be much less impactful than this particular interchange.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, seeing no other questions, thank you for your testimony today. This concludes the first hearing for House Bill 276. I now bring forward Senate Bill 41 for its third hearing. And would like to call Mr. Charles E. Huber to testify on this bill, and the associated written testimony is available on the iPads. Thank you, Mr. Huber. You may proceed.
Chair Swearingen, Vice Chair Santucci, Ranking Member Upchurch, and members of the House Economic and Workforce Development Committee. My name is Charles Huber, and I serve on the Ohio Building Officials Association Legislative and Bylaws Committee. Thank you for the opportunity to provide opposition testimony on Senate Bill 41. OBOA is a professional organization consisting of approximately 1,000 members, most of whom administer construction and fire rules. Our membership includes private sector architects, professional engineers, other construction designers, and construction contractors. Our members include employees and officials in state government. This testimony has neither specifically been coordinated nor endorsed by any state government employee or official. In summary, Senate Bill 41 would have the unintended consequence of removing the convenience of local, non-residential boards of building appeals in some jurisdictions. OBOA proposes the House Economic and Workforce Development Committee and the Senate Bill 41 sponsor amend Senate Bill 41 to apply only to the Ohio Board of Building Appeals, not local non-residential Board of Building Appeals. The Senate Bill 41 amendment could be crafted such that an appellant who desired the expedited procedures and was in a jurisdiction with a local non-residential Board of Building Appeals then could appeal directly to the Ohio Board of Building Appeals. By way of background, the City of Dayton, Hamilton County, and Stark County have stated that if expedited appeals procedures become law, then they would have to dissolve their local non-residential Board of Building Appeals. When all non-residential building code appeals, including non-urgent and non-expedited appeals, would have to be heard by the Ohio Board of Building Appeals. In conclusion, OBOA offers the House Economic and Workforce Development Committee, the Senate Bill 41 sponsor, proponents, and stakeholders assistance in drafting a Senate Bill 41 amendment. My contact information is provided on the written version of my testimony, and I'd be happy to address any questions from the committee.
Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Hubert. Any questions for the witness? Representative White.
Thank you, Chair Swearingen. Mr. Hubert, thank you for your testimony. I have a question. Did you propose this amendment idea in the Senate when the bill was going through, and what was the reaction?
I'd have to check to see if OBOA, which did provide opposition testimony in the Senate committee, addressed the topic of the amendment. House Senate Bill 41 is identical to a bill that this same sponsor introduced in the last session of the Ohio General Assembly. That was Senate Bill 196 in 134th session of the Ohio General Assembly. And in the Senate committee, which heard that bill back in March of 2022, I did discuss with that committee such an amendment.
Chair Swearingen, Mr. Hubert, was there any interest at all in pursuing it, or did you get a negative reaction, do you recall? And if so, why?
I do not remember. No, in fact, the Senate committee in March of 2022 did not pursue the proposal with Ohio Building Officials Association. I cannot speculate. Well, yes, I will speculate a little. I mentioned I serve on OBOA's Legislative and Bylaws Committee. Our committee chair is a fine gentleman by the name of Christopher Randalls. He had an opportunity to attend an event just last week with the Senate Bill 41 sponsor, and they discussed the impact on local non-residential Board of Building Appeals that these provisions would have, including the local non-residential Board of Building Appeals in the jurisdiction where Mr. Randalls is employed. The Senate Bill 41 sponsor led Mr. Randalls to believe, this is now secondhand information, Mr. Randalls relayed this to me, that the Senate Bill 41 sponsor believed that such provisions already exist in Senate Bill 41 as it was passed by the Senate and is before the committee here today. We don't see those provisions.
Are there any other questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony, Mr. Huber.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else who wishes to testify on Senate Bill 41 today? Seeing none, this concludes the third hearing for Senate Bill 41. And seeing no further business in this committee, the committee is adjourned.